All right, what is up, folks? We are going to start off the first tutorial of our prototype number 2.1 player positioning. Let's get into it. So the first step, we're going to open up Unity Hub and create an empty project called prototype number 2. So we're going to hit number 2, and then we're going to rename this one prototype 2. We're going to choose that same folder we made for prototype number 1, which is on the desktop, and a folder called Create with Code. If you haven't made this already, you can create a new folder and make that folder. You definitely want to save your work on the desktop. If you're not saving it on the desktop, it ain't going to work. So we're going to select that folder and then 3D, and then hit boom, create project. There we go. Unity's opening up. While that's opening up, we'll keep reading down the list. Okay, so now we're going to download the prototype 2 starter files. So we click on that one, and it downloads into a zip file. I'm going to click on the little chevron there and hit show in folder. Okay, here's my downloads folder where the prototype 2 starter files has come out. I'm actually going to double click on it here and then again to get into the folder. Now I'm just going to copy this file here, head back over to the desktop, and then paste it into the prototype 2 folder, which is now created. Paste. Cool. So that deals with all of the extraction of the zip file, which is all that process that we did right there. I just did by the copy and paste. All right, from the project window. Okay, we should be good on this, and it is now saying. From the project window, open up prototype 2 and delete the sample scene. Okay, so let's do that. So over here in Unity, okay, I'm gonna just overlap it a little bit. I think it'll be fine. Shrink this one up a bit. Okay, that's pretty good like that. Okay, so project, scenes, sample scene, delete. Yes, delete. Okay, so it's gone. Right. So then after that, in the top right corner of the Unity editor, change the layout from default to your custom layout. Now, if you like, I like using the default layout, but in the first project, we created our own custom layout. So whichever you prefer, you can set it. This is not a requirement. It's definitely what you want to do. Also, I need to import the starter files. I skipped over that right here, so I'm going to do that right now. So we're going to go to Assets, Import Package, Custom Package. We're going to choose that Photoshop Prototype 2 starter files, which is in the Prototype 2 folder, the one that we copied and pasted in there. Okay, and I'm going to hit Import. Okay, so now I'm actually still on the sample scene, but here's my prototype 2 scene, so I'm going to double click on this. It's going to ask if I want to save any changes to the sample scene, and I don't. Okay, cool. There we go. All right, so that's step 1. Next, adding the player, animals, and the food. Okay, let's get all of our objects positioned in the scene, including the player, animals, and the food. If you want to drag drag a different material from the course library materials onto the ground object. Course library materials. What does that do? Oh, it makes it different. No thanks. I'll keep it green. It's kind of cool. I'll stay with the grass. All right, drag 1 human, 3 animals, and 1 food onto the hierarchy. So we're going to go over to food. I'm going to go with the steak into the hierarchy. And then, human first. We'll just go with the first human. And then 3 animals. We'll do farm animals. The horse, the chicken, and the cow. Cool. Rename the human player. So I'm going to convert it to my farmer. I'm going to hit rename and call it player. Cool. And then reposition the animals so that you can see them. Okay, so this should be pretty easy. I just select the player and I move him out a little bit. And the animal, good. And then the little chicken. There we go. We got all three visible. Cool. Moving on. Adjust the ZY scale so that the food so you can see it easily from above. Okay, where's the food at? Here it is. We're going to pull this one out. Scale right here, so I can make it kind of easier to see. You can see that we're the main camera in the game view. I should position these ones a little bit differently. Okay, I'm just going to zoom around a little bit, mostly about like that. Okay, we're going to get our steak and move it over to the side a little bit, and let's just make it just a little bit bigger. There we go. Cool. It's a little bit weird to be feeding steak to a cow, but never mind that now. No, you know what? That's horrible. That's what causes mad cow disease. So we're going to delete that one. We're going to put in the food that's meant for cows, which will be corn. There. Oh, carrots. Yeah, perfect, carrots. And then we'll make the carrot 2 times bigger. Okay, cool. Much better. Horses like carrots. Okay, moving on to... Oh, they give us a little example of how they want it to look. Maybe I should make it look like that. Not too hard to fix because... Let me see what the game looks like. Okay, so the game view is kind of how I'm supposed to be doing this, which is fine. Okay, so I'm going to put my... I'm going to rotate my camera so I see it exactly how it is in the game view. Okay, that's better. Check the game view again. Yeah. Okay. Looks like the animals have to be on top, facing away, because you can see the shadows. So let's fix that up. So I'll choose the player. Player needs to go down here. About like that. And then the cow or the horse up over here in the middle. And then the chicken. And then the brown cow. Cool. I should probably even these ones out. Yep. And then the horse. There we go. Cool. All right, that's it for step 2. Moving on to step 3. Get the user's horizontal input. All right. If we want to move the player left and right, we need a variable tracking the user's input. In your assets folder, create a folder called scripts and a script inside it called player controller. We're going to create a folder and we're going to call it scripts. And inside of that folder, we're going to make a script called player controller. Cool. There we go. Attach the script to the player and then open it. So I'm going to drag this guy up here to my player, drop him. The script does not inherit a native class. The reason why I did that is because it has a space in there. Whoops. We'll just delete it. Deleted. Rename. Create a script, and we're going to call this one player controller. No spaces. And we'll drag that on there. Oh, and it worked that time. Nice. Cool. We could see that it's on the player now because when I click on the player in the hierarchy, the inspector shows that it has a component called player controller script. Cool. All right, now let's open it up. Double clicking, it's going to open up in Visual Studio Code. Cool. All right. It says at the top of the player controller, as declare a new variable, public float horizontal. So you could do it right here. Actually, it's probably the most correct place to do it. You can do it online right above the update function, but you cannot do it inside of the start function. This is not where you want to put it. I'm going to put it on line 7. So we're going to say public float, and it's going to be called horizontal input, semicolon. Cool. In the update, set horizontal input. Okay, so inside of update, we're going to say input.get access, get access horizontal, and that one is going to be equal to that variable we just made. There we go. Horizontal input equals. Cool. So this one equals get access the horizontal. That means are we pressing down the left or right keys or the A or D keys on the keyboard. That's it for step number 3. Okay, so in order to move the player, we need to declare a new variable that is a float, that's the speed. So we're going to call it public float speed equals 10.0f semicolon. Okay, and this one is what actually causes the player to move. And that's transform. We're transforming the player because this script, the player controller, is attached to the player. So we don't have to identify what object is transforming. It knows what it's transforming because of how we attached it. So the transform is applying to the player because we put the script on the player. Translate. Okay, and then we want a vector 3. Vector 3.write. Okay, and then we're going to multiply that by horizontal input, and we're going to multiply that by speed, and then last we're going to multiply by time dot delta time. Semicolon at the end. We should be good. Control S to save. Close it up. We'll know immediately if we have any errors. I'm going to go over to the console. If you don't have the console, you can go up to Window and then General and then Console, and then you can kind of sneak it in wherever you feel like it best suits you in the user interface. But the console is where your error is gonna be shown. Okay, so that is it for step number 4. Now we're on to step number 5, which is keeping the player in bounds. Okay, keeping the player in bounds. Actually, we should probably test our game to see if he actually moves. Oh, he's not even on the screen. Oh my gosh. So I don't know. Okay, so we need to change the position of my player so that he's inside of the camera. Let's do that. Okay, that's good. And now when I move left and right, he does move. Okay, that's good. The problem is that I can move off of the screen. That's what we're going to fix next in step number 5. All right, we have to prevent the player from going out of the bounds of the screen with an if-then statement. Okay, in the update function, write an if statement checking if the player's X position is less than a certain value. In the if statement, set the player's position to its current position, but with a fixed X location. Okay. What does that mean? Let's go like this. Back over to our project and then double click on the player controller script. So underneath where we give the command to move our player around, we're going to write an if statement. It goes if transform, this is the transform of the player, dot position, where the position is, not like the rotation or the scale, but the position is less than -10. Okay. Okay, so in the instructions, it puts the curly braces at the end, but I like to put them at the end of this line right here, but I like to put them underneath the if because it makes it really easy to match them up. Make sure you have all the ones you need. But anyway, if it is less than -10, then we are going to go transform dot position. So the new position of the player is going to equal a vector. New vector 3. Vector 3, which is going to be -10 dot wherever they are, whoops, -10, and then wherever they currently are, transform dot position dot y, and then their transform position dot y, transform dot position dot z. Cool. Now we should see, let's save that. We should see a limit on the negative side. So I'm going to hit play. And we're over here. Oh, that must be the positive side. And then negative. Boom. Now you see how he stops at -10. Now he can't go past. There's the limit on that side. So now we need to put the limit on the other side. And clean up the code a little bit. Okay, so instead of using actual hard coding of the numbers, we're going to make a variable that we can change later on if we need to. So if we want to change the scale of our map, we don't have to change the hard code. We just change the limit of the x range. So we go public float, and this one equals x range, and it's going to be to 10. Cool. And we're going to replace this with x range. Okay, now I'm just going to copy and paste this and flip some things around in order to make it for the opposite side. Okay, let's make sure we're thinking this one through. Okay, so this one it was less than. This one it's going to be greater than and not negative anymore. And instead of being -10, it's going to be x range. And instead of being -10, it's going to be x range. And I think we're good. Cool. Save that and then give it an old test. Left. Now I have a break on that side, and I have a, ooh. Okay, that is not right. Okay, why did that happen? Oops. Cancel. We're going to stop this one. That happened because I forgot to put a -x there. Negative range. Cool. That was awesome. Cool. Everybody makes mistakes. Let's try it again. Boop. There we go. Cool. All right. That is it for lesson 2.1, or the first part of player positioning. So, yeah, we're done.